Hi everyone, welcome. This is my first ever live stream. So welcome to Food Hoodgie. We're gonna make something very simple today, and that is jeera fried rice, my way, the easy way to be honest. So I won't talk for much longer. This is obviously the Diwali stream. Tomorrow is Diwali, so I just thought I'll make something quick and easy for us to eat today. This in here is vegan butter. Can you see that? It's upside down, you can't really see it. So this is what I add instead of ghee. Now if you're not dairy free, you can obviously add ghee to it. I already, as you can see, my pan is very hot. I had already heated my pan up beforehand. I'm hoping you can hear me well, aside from all the sizzling, which sounds like it's gonna make things really delicious. So you need a good amount of oil or butter or vegan butter in there. I wouldn't recommend using anything like coconut oil because it makes it really very, I don't know, coconutty. So I'm gonna literally go in with a tiny bit of mustard seeds, not too much of it as you can see from there. And then I'm gonna throw in the chili, okay, and a generous amount of cumin or jeera. That's about 2 tablespoons there. That will really make the rice very fragrant and aromatic. The red chili, you can put in green chili if you like. I've just added in red chili because it gives a little bit of color. And then we're going to go in. If you have fresh curry leaves, do add those. I've just got the dried ones, so I'm adding the dried ones in here. I know with that butter frothing you can't really tell, but the jeera is crackling in there. Next, what you want to do is, I've got some coriander right there. This is all the leaves, and this is a stem part. So I want to put that in there. And what I didn't mention, hopefully you can hear me over this, what I didn't mention is that I have already cooked the rice and cooled it down in a tray like this. And the rice cooked the usual way. The only thing I did was added a tiny bit of salt and bay leaves to it. And as soon as the rice is cooked, let it cool for a little bit in the pan. Then I plated it up in a wide mouth plate or a dish, whichever is easier for you, and you cool it down. So next, just because we want to sneak in as many vegetables as we can and everything, this is frozen peas. So the other way some people make jeera rice is do all of this with a washed rice and then they stir it through and then cook it. But I quite like it like this because the jeera, the cumin gets really crunchy, and that's how I prefer it. And it tastes much more nuttier. I'm just going to open the window because my kitchen is steamed up massively. And I put the kettle on. Hope you're all having a good weekend so far. If you are getting ready for Diwali, what are you doing? How are you getting ready? So there you can see the peas are kind of defrosted, cooked, and some of them even got a little bit of where is it? As you can see, they're toasted a little as well, so singed a little, which is great. Gonna put the heat back up a little. And like I said, I didn't add a lot of salt in the rice, so we need to flavor this at this point. I'm using pink Himalayan salt, that's what I always use. So this is really salty and quite strong. So this is half a teaspoon of salt. And also I don't tend to eat a lot more salt, so you might want to add more in there. Give that a stir. Okay, now we're going to add in half of our coriander. So you see, it's such a simple and easy thing to cook. Next, we're going to take our rice. So you can see that I've added bay leaves into the rice. You can leave them in there if you like. And I'd also added some cloves actually, which reminds me, what I usually like to do is just go in with a bit of black pepper. I just love the smell of it when it's cooked. This rice isn't very spicy. Okay, so in with the rice. You want the heat turned down. Okay, I'm not adding it all in one go because I don't really want to break the rice up. You want to keep it nice and whole. Okay, I assure you my hands are clean, so I'm going to go in with my hands. And if you really wanted to, you can finish this off with a tiny bit of lime juice or a wedge of lime in your plate. My children tend to just eat this as it is without anything. But usually we have this with some plain dal. My favorite memory of this rice is eating this when I was younger. Whenever we go to hotels in India, they make jeera rice, and then the dal that they make is so plain and so simple. It just tastes so delicious. I think part of it is because obviously they used to add a whole load of ghee to things, which is great, I suppose. But now when we make it at home, this is how we make it. So that is actually ready. I'm just going to put the heat up a tiny bit because I want everything to kind of toast through a little. I hope you can see okay on here. And if you find any clumps, you can either break it up with your fingers, but do be careful, it is hot. So maybe just use a spatula. And that is your jeera rice ready and done. So dinner is ready, actually. It's great with palak paneer, tofu paneer. Oh, not tofu paneer, that's not quite possible, is it? Palak tofu. So used to saying palak paneer. But yes, you can have it with any kind of gravy or plain and just pickle. My favorite is going to be this chili. I usually try and hunt for that and eat that with my rice. That's it. I don't want to give this too much of a stir, but I will plate it up for you so you can see how lovely it looks. And where's that chili? I'm gonna get the chili. It is there. There we go. That's ready. That's one dish done. Over with. Okay. So I thought the next thing we could make could be a sweet dish. Just bear with me 1 second. Now I understand the pressures of live TV. So what you're going to need and what we're going to be making is actually a chocolate truffle, and it's a chili spiced chocolate truffle. So what you're going to need is set up a dish to have a bain-marie over, and a bain-marie means a double boiler. That's in French. So the idea is that you are going to melt your chocolate and your cream over a heat. So I've added hot water because I don't want to wait too long to heat up water from the pan. This pan is clearly very small and the hob is really big, but it's okay. So the idea here is that you're going to put your chocolate and your cream and anything you want to like flavor and season with, the chocolate with. Okay, so I don't know if we can move this around. Bear with me, I'm so sorry. Let's see if this works. Okay, what I wanted to show you was everything that we need to make this dish. I'm gonna turn that down a little. So you're gonna want some, first and foremost, chocolate. The ones that I'm using are actually chocolate buttons, and these are 100% dark chocolate, and they're vegan. So there's no sugar added in here, which makes them really, really bitter. So obviously to compensate for that, I'm gonna have to add in extra sweetness to it. You are going to want the cream. So again, you can make this non-vegan, but this is my vegan version. You're gonna need the equal amount of cream to the chocolate. These are the spices you're gonna put in. I'm going to add all of these details in the chat box, the description, so that you can follow through. You're gonna roast these spices up. Ignore the tea bag for a second. So you're gonna roast up the star anise, cardamom, cloves, chili in a little pan. In fact, I'll show you. I've got this little pan, I roasted it in there, and once they had cooled down, I put them in a pestle and mortar, like so, and I grounded them up. And the powdered version that I put in was about a 1/4 teaspoon of, can you see, cumin. That is just less than 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon powder. That's ginger. You need a pinch of salt or a little bit more. And this is that vegan block of butter that I showed you. This is 30 grams. And this is jaggery. You can add in any type of sweetener that you like. If you want to make it with maple syrup, that's fine too. I'm adding jaggery because it's, like I said, it's a Diwali stream. So trying to make this a little bit more Indian with some Indian flavors, though this is not traditionally an Indian dish. And I'm gonna add in tea because I love tea, and this is cardamom tea. So I'm gonna flavor my cream up with that. So you can see in the background, this is steaming up loads. So what we wanna do, let me go up so you'll be able to see exactly what I'm doing. Right. Also, the other thing you're going to need, actually I should have told you this, is going to be a dish of some form, a baking tray. You can line it up with cling film, I'd rather not. So what I've done is I've oiled it up with some coconut oil, and you can put in a baking sheet if you like, a baking paper, that's the word I'm looking for. Line it up with that, and then once the truffle is ready, the ganache is ready. So ganache is what you get from melting chocolate and cream together. Once you've got the ganache ready, you're going to pour it into that mold, leave it in the freezer for an hour. And can you see? And then it will be ready, and then you're just going to slice them up into tiny pieces because this is really, really rich actually. Okay, I'm going to move the camera back again so that you'll be able to see everything like you were earlier. Move things around. Okay, I hope that's better. You can see the rice there. Should probably move it, right? Okay. So here is your cream in the double boiler. There's the hot water. What's really important is that you don't want that water to be touching this second pan that you've got on top. and it needs to be a heat-proof one. So we want to sweeten this, like I said, so I really want to add in the jaggery first. If you're using other type of sweeteners, I'm gonna get my little whisk. If you're using other type of sweeteners, you don't need to add it in straight away. You can add it in with the other things. I'm just trying to look for my little whisk. This is when I need like a sous chef or an assistant of some form. Okay, this will do, the big one. So you can see straight away it's colored the cream to a really beautiful caramelly color. Just want to make sure it's mixed in. Okay, didn't want to have it sitting in just one place. And then what I want to do is also add the tea bag here, because you want to infuse as much of the tea now into that cream. And we don't want to get this cream so hot that it splits. So what's really important actually is that when you're adding the spices, you don't want to add the salt in straight away. Otherwise it's going to split the cream up. You want to keep the salt aside and add it in. And I'm just going to check to see if it's sweet enough. It tastes sweet enough, but I might just add a little bit more because the chocolate is, well, it's very bitter. Kind of attacking my drawer there. Okay. So that goes in with, that now makes it 3 tablespoons of jaggery. Can you see that? Okay. Like I said, I'm going to add everything in the description so you can see what I've used. And if you're using jaggery, you'll tell when it's melting because it's going to go a darker color and it ends up looking like caramel. So that's happening right now. Bear with me if this is really noisy or the angle's not perfect. This is my first time ever having a live stream, going live, so I guess it's all going to be a learning process. But looking forward to doing more of these in the future. You can always save this stream. Can you save this stream on YouTube? Yeah, you can, can't you? You can always save it and come back to it later and make it. Right. So let me show you, if I can, what it looks like from the bottom. You can see that the jaggery is all melted because there aren't any dark bits. There's a few little pieces here and there. The tea is also flavoring. So every now and then I'm just giving the tea bag a little push. Putting it under a bit of pressure. This looks like the most delicious milky tea. Quite rich too. Don't know if I'd ever drink all of this. Suppose you're not meant to. Okay. There we are. So here is also where I'm going to add in the butter. You can put in coconut oil. I've never tried it in this, but suppose you could do. Now these, this ganache that becomes a truffle can last in the fridge for up to 2 weeks. I've got to say, we've never had them longer than 1 week in the fridge. And whenever I've made these, my neighbors, my friends and relatives have all really loved them. So they are quite Moorish, and I have made these in the past for Christmas with tequila or with mezcal. Oh my God, with mezcal, this is so good. Because it's really sweet, and then mezcal is kind of, you know, just really fresh, but then also very bitter or strong. But this version is alcohol free because it's for Diwali. Okay, so that is melting. Whoa. I hope you can see or appreciate that the color is getting darker as the tea is brewing in that cream. Maybe if I go back a bit and up a little, you can see a bit better. I'm just giving the tea bag a little squeeze because it seems to be, because the cream is so thick, it's kind of holding on to the flavor of the tea. You just want to make sure you don't split the tea in there, which is a good reminder for me because I don't want to split the tea in there. So what I might do is just give it a little squeeze now and here. Okay, just gonna wash my hands. Like I said, you don't want to make the cream so hot that it splits. So next we're going to go in with pretty much all of our powder, spiced powder mix. And then I'm gonna go in with our chocolate too. I love that sound. Might need okay. Can you see it's melting? You want to make sure that you're not burning the chocolate, so you want to give it a gentle mix, and it's getting thicker. And as it sticks to the pan like this, you want to clear it away. Ideally, if you have a bigger pan, it would be better, but because mine is smaller, so relaxing. What can be better than melting chocolate? Thinking about getting ready to eat truffles. Nothing. What kind of sweets do you guys make for Diwali? I don't love Indian sweets. There are only some sweets that I love that they make at festival time. And those are the sweets that I can't actually make that well. So I need to learn. There's a lot of skill involved in those ones. And they're quite a long process. So I think I've just been intimidated in the past by them. And also, when you've got people around you that make it so amazingly, you just feel like mine don't compare that great. So as you can see, the chocolate is melting, it's getting thicker. I could just turn the heat off because the pan is still really hot. I might just go on to getting a bigger spatula. Let's see. I'm looking for my favorite spatula. I must have, oh, there it is. Okay, sorry guys, just going to quickly wash this. I'm sure everybody has a favorite spatula and a favorite knife. This is actually not even that fancy, it's literally from IKEA. But the silicone bit on the end is really, really flexible. So it kind of really gets into all of the corners of a pan or a dish. So whatever you're making. Now, if you feel like this is far too thick, you can drop in a little bit of almond milk or coconut milk. Oof. Okay. And you want to make sure that you don't get any water in here by way from the spoons or your hand. Okay. I'm gonna give it a little taste test. I wish you could smell this right now. That already looks so rich. So there are two things you can do. If you want to have this a bit more runny, you can add a little bit more butter to it. Or you can add a little bit more cream or some warm through milk. So it's really nice. But I might just add a little bit of butter to this. Make it a little bit more richer. Why not? And to be honest, you're not going to be eating a ton of this because it's physically impossible. It's so rich. Can you see that loosens up the mixture straight away? And the pan is really hot to just melt it. So I turned the gas off a while ago, remember? I think if I'd left it on any longer, all this chocolate would have kind of burnt. And once I feel like that the butter has melted, I'm going to put this in that dish I showed you. Stick it in the freezer for an hour. Cling film it on top. Stick it in the freezer. And then when you come back to it, you want to cut it into small chunks. And then you're going to take some raw cacao powder, whatever you have. Oh gosh, this angle is so close, so you can't see that. There it is, cocoa powder, cacao powder. This one is cacao, it's raw, but you can use cocoa powder. When you cut them into little chunks, you want to just throw it into about 40 grams of that powder, the chocolate powder. So it's coated, and then you're going to have the most delicious truffles. Trust me. This is so good with a cup of coffee or tea or a glass of red wine. Okay, what I'm going to do is bring this here. Take it out. I'm just going to get rid of that hot water in that pan. And I think I dropped a little bit of water there. Okay. One final stir through, and then into this. Making sure I don't waste any of this. Even my kids love this. They do find it rich. One of them especially finds it a bit chilly, but we'll keep going back because he loves chocolate so much. And so, as far as healthy treats go, this isn't that bad. You can see everything that you've put in it. You've controlled the amount of sugar too. Okay. You just want to do that. I don't want to put it over the hot pan. Don't worry, I'm not going to hold you here for another hour waiting for this to cool down. This also makes a really decadent cheesecake. Filling. You can have a biscuit base underneath. Top it with nuts. Then this, and then add a little bit of whipped cream on top. Not quite a cheesecake, I know, but it's so good. I've had that before too, or rather I've made it like that before too. I don't know what to call it. I don't think it'd be called a cheesecake. A tart. Okay, that's it. So, and then we're gonna be fighting over who's gonna lick this. So what we're gonna do is once it's all cooled down, I'm gonna cut it into the smallest, maybe 1 centimeter squares, and then dip it out. So plop them out. Then you take another bowl, you add the cacao powder in here, then you throw in the little chunks, coat them like this, and then you can parcel them up into little gift packs or eat them all for yourself. I would keep this in the fridge because it's got the cream, but if you keep it somewhere really cool, that's fine too. I mean, we're in winter now, so you could keep it somewhere cool in a cupboard. That should be fine. But I just, I really like them cold, so that's why I put them in the fridge. And trust me, they're not going to last 2 weeks. So enjoy, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me.